Do you ever get pissed off? Well, I've got 5 reasons why you should. Hello and welcome once again to the Video Call-In Show. Today, I've got a 5 list for you. 5 reasons, if you're not already pissed off about these things, you should be. Now, I know that I don't want to really make this a piss and moan session, but it's my show, and I'm going to make it any damn thing I want to. The reason I came up with this was because here lately I've had some things going on, and you know, when you're working with certain things, there's no way to keep from getting pissed off. And I just happened to run into a few, and I thought, what a great subject matter for a live stream. And if you guys want to join in, go to zoom.us, put in this meeting ID after you've clicked the join a meeting button, and you should be able to come straight in. Now, you can be audio or video. It doesn't matter to me. I'm more interested in having you on and discussing things. And if we have to discuss anything at all, let's talk about what pisses us off. Oh, man. I guess I'll jump right into it and not keep you waiting. Oh, there's one thing around this season that just drives me friggin' batty, and that is Christmas lights. Yes, Christmas lights. Now, most of you, or I should say, some of you aren't even going to be able to relate to this, but when you're a homeowner or even young starting out, I can remember putting up lights around an apartment window just because, tis the season after all. But my experience since I've been a homeowner of several decades is that, God, they're just crap. They're just absolutely crap. And it's our own damn fault. We've allowed all of the retailers to sell us really cheap shit, and Christmas lights is arguably the best example of that. All Chinesium, all made like garbage. Well, it never fails. Every single year, I break out the lights, and I'll be damned. Now, see, here's the thing. We use a lot of garland that has the lights wrapped up in it. And every single season that I bring those out, there's at least one strand that has decided to die in the attic. Just decided to die. It's like, nothing pisses me off more than that, because they're not easy to put up. I mean, I'm putting them up around half-round windows, and have to break out the 26-foot ladder, and being no spring chicken, you can see where that would just tick me the hell off. By the way, the live-in or the video call-in show is that type of show that asks you to come on at any time. So if you'd like to jump on the show, we can talk about what angers you. We can talk about anything you want to. Just join us at any time. But make sure that you hit that subscribe button, because you want to be notified the moment we go live. That way you can participate or watch the antics of some dude pissing and moaning about things that ticks him off. So, number 2 on that list of things that have recently pissed me off, since we are still in that holiday season, there seems to be no shortage of food that we shove down our gullet. And I know we're supposed to have self-control, but not all of us do. I'm included, and I've got a reason for that. But that brings me to number 2, which is diets. Diets piss me off. Now they've become a necessary evil as I get older. You don't metabolize like you used to, so you've got to deal with that extra baggage, for lack of a better term. And there's really nothing you can do about it. And I think you're going to notice a theme with this list. It's going to be old guy stuff, old person stuff. I don't want to be sexist there, because I know plenty of women that can't stand the Christmas lights. The wife just went out tonight and had to go buy some more garland that didn't have, the pine looking garland that didn't have any lights in it. So now she's got a string it with lights, and you know what's going to happen next year. But let me get back to diets. Diets piss me off because, like I said, they're a necessary evil. When you get to a certain age, uh, I can remember being a 28 waist, svelte, 163, all the way up until I was about 30 years old. Well, things change after you hit a certain age, and you just don't process it the way you used to. You can't put it down like you used to. And that's a habit that's tough to break, I'm here to tell you. I attribute a lot of that to our upbringing. Do me a favor, parents. Don't do this to your child. Don't tell them to clean their plate. I am a firm believer in part of the problem with a lot of weight. The problem with a lot of kids that have weight problems is that, and even adults, is that they were told that this is all depression stuff, right? This all started in the depression. They were told to clean their plate, and the reason they were told to clean their plate was because they didn't know if they're going to get another meal. We're no longer in that situation, and I don't want to be wasteful, but please don't tell them to clear the plate. It will stick with you, and you will sit down to a meal, and you will not be able to stop until you've finished every bit of food on that plate, and that's a horrible thing because moderation is everything. So diets really piss me off because they have to be done. I'm getting ready to hit that horse once again. I happen to prefer the low carb diet. I don't know if any of you have had to diet even, but if you have, let me know in the comments what diet works for you the best. Now, in my best day, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, the first time I ever tried the low carb diet, and it was a modified version. It was kind of a mix between the Atkins diet and the South Beach diet. I was able to, and this is no lie. I was able to shed at least a pound a day. Now I was on a strict regimen. I wasn't all meats. I wasn't zero carbs. But what I did was I limited myself to 40 carbs a day, zero trans fats, right? And as little sodium as I could get away with. So if I counted my carbs and kept it under 40 and ate, a whole lot of good protein, I could shed a pound a day. I've tried that at least twice since, and it only didn't work one of those 3 times. And I chalked that up to my inability to stick to it like I should have. So so get ready for it. If you're not already in that mode, you will probably have to diet sometime within your lifetime, and you're going to hate it. It's going to piss you off. All right, so number 3, cell phone drivers. I'm going to say that again. Cell phone drivers. We all know what I mean by that. And I would venture guess that we're all somewhat guilty. I mean, these things we have nowadays are they're literally leashes, right? So anybody can get a hold of us at any time, and of course we facilitate that. We carry these things around with us everywhere. Now that doesn't doesn't mean it's right, because what it's doing, and I don't know, even those of us, I'll say, because I'm guilty. I've looked for numbers, and thank God that the newer vehicles allow you to voice command. But yeah, I've read texts and things like that when I'm driving, and the moment I realize that I'm doing it, I try to stop. It's like I shut it down. I grew up in an age where we didn't have phones in cars. We didn't miss it. Didn't miss it at all. We still were able to communicate with people. Everything worked out just fine. So it's very much in everyone's best interest if you can stop that entirely, because I bet it's the cause of more accidents than they're reporting, And that's not a good thing because, more people die on the highway than almost, well, I don't know what the stats are, and I'm not even going to get into that argument, but please stay away from your cell phone when you're behind the wheel. It's not safe. And I know you hear that from everybody. All right. Moving on, number 4, and this is going to seem somewhat like an ultra personal gripe, but yeah, I got to throw it out there. My back, my fucking back. Oh man, and I'll tell you, the reason that that it's even on here is because one, I'm having some horrible problems with my back. I was in an accident several years ago, and I want to say decades. In fact, it was probably 82. And I was in a, long story long, I was in a Datsun, I think they're 620s, the little pickups. And a woman pulled out in front of me. And not only did I bounce, well, I hit her, but I bounced off the steering wheel, went back, smacked my head on that tiny ass little window, but also the back rail of the seat, which was almost zero padding. I mean, those things were built like sardine cans. They're just small and cheap, and I loved that truck, but oh man, that really screwed up my back, and there were several bars all along it. So that, and I just now thought of this. In about 1990, I was in another accident. These are only 2 accidents that I've had, and that was in an '83 CJ7 Jeep CJ7, and I bet I could trace it back to that even tighter. This accident happened on the the loop around Indianapolis 465. I was coming home actually from WTTV, and 70 was closed, which was an exit off of 465. Well, some idiot stopped, not knowing what to do. He said, "I want to go on 70." So it's like, no, you can't go on 70. So what does he do? Instead of passing it up and doubling back and heading if you'd gone south, he could have gotten on there. No, he stops right in the middle of traffic, center lane. There were 3 of us, maybe 4 of us, that had, we were forced to stop. This is morning rush hour traffic, and there was no way to get, for me or apparently anybody in front of me, there was no way to get into one of the other lanes, fast lane or slow lane. Oh, that's another thing. I should actually add that to the list, but I don't want to be overly angry here. At any rate, I as soon as I was slowing down and stopping, like most of us do, we look up in our rearview mirror. Well, what do I see behind me but a big giant lavender and pink custom van. Now remember, this is 1990, so this van was probably 15 years old, left over from the 70s, and I mean, just all decked out, had the running boards and everything. And I thought, oh shit, that van's gonna hit me. Well, it didn't. He actually got into, I don't know, was it slow lane or fast lane? I don't know. I'm looking in the mirror, so I can't remember exactly which way he turned. Behind him was a work van, stark white, ladder up top. And the thing that was most striking about that, I couldn't see the guy's face. He was, all I saw was his head over the dash. And the reason I found out later was he had dropped something and was looking for it. Certainly wasn't one of these. So we all know that this has always been a kind of an issue. If you're not paying attention when you're driving, you're likely to actually hurt someone. But anyway, and I thought, uh-oh, here it is. He's going to hit me. So he did. Smacked right into my Jeep. I was at a dead stop. I hit the guy in front of me, and we just dominoed right into that first idiot, because this all happened within a span of 5 seconds. It was really, really fast. At any rate, he smacked in the back of my Jeep. I hit everybody going forward, and but I'd already braced, and it hit me right in the bridge of the nose, which knocked me out for a few minutes. And as soon as I came to, I looked back, and I could touch his grill. He had jumped my tires, sheared the leaf springs off, crushed the ass end of my Jeep. I mean, he must have been going 60 mile an hour. The roll bar had gone over my head and broke the windshield frame, and I had a soft top on it. So, do the math on that. Well, how I relate this back to my back is that the side door, which was just a cutout, and all the both doors were soft. It had come up and it had hit me right in the lower back, just off to the right, which is what I'm suffering with right now, is a horrible pain just on the right side of my lower back. And I didn't even think about the Jeep until just now. You guys got to witness it, or you will when you're watching this later. At any rate, so I passed blood for a few days because it was right at the kidney area in the lower back, and I was I was an invalid for probably 2 weeks, and went back to work, and everything was I guess I got over it, but I've always had a certain amount of lower back pain. Even in the military, it bothered me from the Datsun. So it's kind of a miracle that I'm even able to stand up. So, but the reason I bring back into it is because I think each and every one of you know somebody who's got a back problem. Somebody who's got a back problem. And it's usually attributed to age. That's why it pisses me off. And that brings me to my final, number 5 thing or the 5th thing on this list that pisses me off. That's fucking age. Age sucks. It absolutely sucks. You don't know how good you got it until you grow older. Now, I'm just double nickels. So I don't have one foot in the grave. But good God, do you start feeling things, you feel all the abuse that you've inflicted on your body these many years. And it's just brutal. I was a smoker for probably 30 some odd years. I ended up, and I've mentioned this on a couple of other videos, I ended up vaping, which arguably saved my life. I've got a lot of family members on friends and family members on oxygen. Their lung capacity is such that they can't breathe like they used to. And that to me, 10 years ago. 10 years ago is when I started this. That to me was a frightening sort of thing. It's one of those where, look, I'm to an age where I'm starting to feel things. I'm watching other people have problems based on what we're all doing, smoking. I'm giving that up. So it's exactly the reason I gave up drugs early on. Now, I'm still an idiot and I lift things, so that doesn't help my back. But I gave up drugs because in high school, I'm talking about any of the designer drugs back in the 70s, all the way up to marijuana. I just stopped. Yeah, I drank. It was no big deal. It still isn't. I don't drink enough to worry about my liver. But I just watched so many of my older friends and the path they were taking, doing drugs as often as they possibly could. And it's not like they were, not doing black tar heroin or anything. They were just things like Quaaludes or speed or, you name it. And a lot of marijuana. And geez, it aged them prematurely, and it kind of left them in a rut. And I thought, I am not going to go down that road. So I remember distinctly, it was right before my junior year in high school. Because this was the 70s, and I had several years of what one would term as fun. But I just said in that year before I went in junior year in high school, I said, that's it. I'm done. Which was kind of cool because then I became the guy. I still hung out with the same friends, and it wasn't even like a withdrawal thing. It's like, I had just written it off. I don't need that. You guys do whatever you want to do. I'll be over here. I may have a beer or something. And then I became that guy who got passed to and said, oh, that's right. You no longer do that. So I was kind of a mini celebrity there. Anyway, there's a good example of abuse that I never should have put my body through. So anyway, having said all that, number 5 is arguably the worst, and I'll probably put out more because I think we can all think of things that really grind our gears, to use Peter Griffin's term. But yeah, whatever you do, take this opportunity. And I know most of us have to figure it out for ourselves. But if you take any advice at all, because I'm not your parent, from from someone who may know more than you do, it is take care of yourself so that you don't have to as much as you age. That's arguably the best advice I can give anyone. Well, that and split your income into 3. I'm going to leave that for another video. All right, so this was a fun one. I got some things off my chest, and I appreciate you guys listening. If you like this kind of content, and you know that eventually when the audience comes, there's going to be a lot of people talking about all these sorts of issues. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you know when I go live. The plan now is to go live every single weekday, and bonus on the weekends whenever I have time for it and I've got a show planned. But yeah, every weekday, look for me to go live and come on in and join us. Talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. Talk about whatever subjects that I come up with. Talk about some of my past video subjects. I don't care. It's one thing to write them in the comments. It's a whole other if you've got a lot to say about it. And I want to hear from you. So make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll get this show rolling. Let's see. What else did I have? Did I have anything? No, I didn't. I think I've been on this long enough. Close music's playing. I had a bonus, but I don't think I'm going to get into that because I might tick off some of my friends. So listen, have the rest of the evening. Make the best of the rest of the evening, and we'll touch base with you very soon. In the meantime, take care, and we'll see you live.